If you use Claude to write articles, polish emails, or even refine code, something major has changed under the hood. Anthropic just rolled out an invisible, machine-readable watermarks across all their models. That means if you generate a text, copy and paste it into an email, a Google Doc, or even a client deliverable, that text carries a hidden signature embedded directly into the words. It doesn't even show up to human eye, but it is machine-readable. And the weird part is that even light editing and copying and pasting does not remove this watermark. So why did Anthropic do this? Will it mess with your work? And what does it mean for anyone relying on Claude daily? Let's break down the official policy and the technology behind it and what you need to know. Just updated its global policy to align with the EU AI Act Article 50, and more specifically to be compliant with the Code of Practice Transparency of AI Generated Act. Now, I personally don't think this is such a bad news because recently we've been bombarded with a lot of AI generated videos and an AI generated content, and at some point it was a little bit difficult to distinguish between what is real and what is not real. So this act is not only bad thing. I think we definitely need such a thing. However, if you're using AI in your daily work, you really need to pay attention because this now affects you as well. So what does this regulation do? Under this regulation, tech companies that develop generative AI models must provide clear ways to identify AI generated or AI manipulated content. Now, originally the EU did inspire Anthropic to do this. They decided to go even globally with this rule. So if you're using Claude on the web, on the API, inside developer tools like Cloud Code, or even on AWS Bedrock, your models is now outputting these hidden watermarks. Now, let's talk about the watermarks itself. What does it mean? And how is Anthropic adding these? The first watermark that's been added, which is an embedded watermarks in the text. So here, basically, when Cloud Code outputs a text, it slightly influences the choices of words and creates some sort of a statistical distribution, which is invisible to the human readers. Now, you probably are familiar with some watermarks before. For example, if you ever generated some Gemini images, you can see like this watermark like here shown in the bottom right of every Gemini generated image. But now with Claude, this does not include anything that is visible. This is now the difference. The sentence is chosen in a way that it has some hidden statistical distribution. Now, the funny part is that Anthropic says that this would not degrade the quality of the model or the reasoning, but I've already seen online that people have been complaining that the newer AI models has been affected by this fact. And this new restriction has been applied to all the models starting from August the 2nd and onwards. And they even said that all the models are constantly now being updated according to that as well, as you see here. And the interesting part about this watermark is that if you copy and paste the text somewhere else, this watermark still persists because it's just the choice of words that is included within a certain sentence. Now, the second thing that was added to the watermarks as well, which is the signed C2PA metadata to the files, images, etc. Now, think of this C2PA as your passport being stamped by AI, and it just clearly shows that whatever image that was generated or file or PDF, it has been processed by Claude. This method is an industry standard. You are now able to detect whether a file has been tampered with AI, and this helps us with, for example, AI generated images, maybe videos in the future as well, etc. So actually, I think this is a really useful thing. We started seeing this on YouTube where people creating AI generated content are now being flagged on YouTube with the word AI generated. The same is with X, for example. This has helped a lot in the Iran war where a lot of people were creating fake videos about the war, and then X was flagging these as AI generated content. And I think this is really, really useful, especially in challenging times like having war, etc. So Claude also mentioned that they're going to be enabling third-world parties to detect Claude-embedded watermark. That means expect new software that is going to come out, which is going to be detecting whether content produced, etc., has been generated via Claude or not. Now, for the million-dollar question, how does this impact your day-to-day life? Let's start with freelancers. Right now, if you're creating client deliverables, this is a massive shift. Even if you're licensed your content normally, clients who are now using AI detectors calibrated for Claude watermark can instantly flag raw AI copy. And here's the annoying part. What if you write an essay or blog and post yourself and only ask Claude to, for example, check for grammars or flow? Anthropic explicitly noted that content passed through Claude for editing or summarizing can still carry this watermark. That means human written work edited by AI might be flagged as AI processed, which is unfortunate because I do this all the time. Now, let's say you're a developer and you're building a product that has some AI generated content. Right now, just by the fact that Cloud Code is showing this as a watermark does not automatically give you safety away from this AI AU Act. You still need to disclose that all this content was generated by AI to be on the safe side. The same goes if you're working in academia and you just use Cloud Code for grammar checks, not only editing, but also just for grammar. So here you also need to be careful, especially if you're writing your thesis, dissertation, etc. Right now, you might be flagged as AI generated, even if you're just doing minor edits with these AI models. Now, here are some of the limitations that this watermark comes with. There are ways to avoid being flagged as a watermark. For example, writing short snippets, because as we said, this is a statistical choice of words. So if the sentence is short enough, it does not have enough data to flag as a watermark. So think of it as writing a short text as a tweet. It will not be detected as a AI generated content via Claude. Another thing, which is the heavy paraphrasing, rewriting. So if you write something with AI and then you change it constantly and you change the choice of words, this could eliminate the watermark. It's not 100% proof, but it could actually remove that. And finally, if you want to remove the C2PA metadata from the files, taking a screenshot of the image, etc., changing the image format usually does this. So this is not a bulletproof method to detect AI generated content. People can still find loopholes and ways around it, but I think Anthropic is doing some active effort to make sure that the public is safe, or at least the public knows that this is a content that was altered with. Now, before you panic and stop using AI in every day, here are some of the stuff that you can do this week to be on the safe side. If you're someone who's using AI in your deliverables, let's say your contractor, etc., just put it in your contract. Say that you are using these as an advantage. You can also frame it as you being more competitive and at cheaper prices, etc. But the agencies or the contractors who are not mentioning these are the ones who might be in trouble if they say that all their work is original. Now, if you're on the other side and you're somebody detecting AI generated content and some of the stuff gets flagged as AI generated, take this with a grain of salt. It could be that it's not fully authored by the AI, but it was a little bit processed by it, and still there's some human writing the thoughts, etc. And finally, if you are AI generated content, you have some chatbots on your website, etc., that has some AI underneath, make sure to add a label for your end users to tell them that they are talking to a chatbot, to be compliant with the AU AI Act, because as we said, the mark is machine readable, but it's not human readable. So it's not sufficient to rely on the watermark for the end users to understand that they are chatting to an AI. Now, the bigger picture is clear. This AI watermarking is not just a thing that Anthropic just did. It's becoming an industry standard. So for the upcoming days and weeks, I would expect OpenAI, Gemini, etc. to follow these regulations and start using similar patterns in their model development as well. So if you're using AI in your daily work, this information should not stop you from using it, but it is rewarding human originality and heavy editing more than ever. Now, I'm really interested. How do you feel about these invisible text marks? Do you think it's a necessary step for transparency, or is unwanted headache generated by the AU AI Act? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if this provided you some value. And make sure to hit the notification bell to get all the latest news on the AI as well. See you in the next one.